everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today, we are going to be exploring love.
Ooh, love.
But not just any kind of love.
Right.
We're going to be taking a look at love languages.
Love languages, yeah.
Through the lens of Yahweh.
Very interesting.
Yeah. I think this will be a fascinating discussion.
Absolutely.
And just so everyone knows, we're not just talking about romantic love here.
Right, of course not.
These insights apply to really any relationship.
Yeah, family, friends, colleagues.
Exactly. And you know what really stood out to me about the source material that you sent over?
Oh, yeah, what's that?
Is that they used the Hebrew names Yahweh and Yeshua for God and Jesus.
Yes, I noticed that too. And, it suggests that we're kind of going beyond that general Christian perspective.
Right.
And really delving into a more Jewish understanding of love, particularly the love of God.
Okay. I am intrigued already. So before we get too far into things,
Sure.
just a quick reminder for anyone who maybe needs it.
Yep.
The 5 love languages are words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service, physical touch,
Right.
and receiving gifts.
Yes.
But, before we jump into those, I came across this quote in the material that really stopped me in my tracks.
Oh, really? What was it?
It said, and I quote, "Love is not just a feeling, but an action and a commitment that reflects Yahweh's love for us."
Ooh, that's powerful.
Right. So much to unpack there. So I'm hoping maybe you can help us unpack that a little.
Absolutely. So you see this idea that love, it moves us beyond those fleeting, warm, fuzzy feelings.
Okay.
It's about actively demonstrating love,
Right.
mirroring Yahweh's unwavering commitment to us.
So it's not enough to just feel love. We
Exactly.
have to actively show it.
Yes, we're talking about love as a verb.
Not just a noun.
Precise.
So are you saying that actions speak louder than words even when it comes to expressing love to God?
That's a great question. And it's not about negating words,
Okay.
but understanding that love, it needs to be embodied.
Embodied. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and this is where it gets really interesting because the source material suggests that Yahweh actually embodies all 5 love languages perfectly.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
All 5?
All 5.
I mean, I'm struggling to picture that.
I know, it's a lot.
How can one being possibly embody every single love language?
Well, it might seem unbelievable at first,
Yeah.
but when you look at the biblical examples provided, it starts to make sense.
Right.
Take words of affirmation, for instance.
Okay.
The source highlights Yahweh affirming Yeshua during his baptism, saying, "This is my beloved Son in whom I am well pleased."
Wow. Yeah, that's powerful.
Right.
If that's not a powerful affirmation, I don't know what.
It's the ultimate validation.
Yeah, coming straight from the source.
Exactly.
It really drives home the point that words carry weight, especially when they come from someone we deeply respect and love.
Absolutely. And then we have quality time.
Okay.
The source emphasizes Yahweh's desire for a personal relationship with us, much like how Yeshua frequently withdrew to spend time alone with God. It's about that intimate connection, that dedicated space for nurturing the relationship.
So it's like how we prioritize spending time with the people we love.
Yeah,
Yahweh values that connection with us too.
precisely. It's not just about being physically present, but truly being there.
Right.
Mentally and emotionally engaged.
That present in the moment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this idea of intentionality, it applies to all the love languages.
Okay.
Now think about acts of service.
Okay.
The source uses the example of Yeshua washing the disciples' feet, an ultimate act of humility and service.
Right. And it's not about grand gestures either.
No, not at all.
It's those everyday actions that demonstrate care
Right.
and a willingness to serve others, even in seemingly small ways.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that was acts of service. What about physical touch?
Yes. This one can be a bit tricky, especially today.
Yeah, I could see that.
The source talks about how Yeshua healed through touch,
Right.
showing its potential to communicate love and care.
Mm.
But it also emphasizes the importance of purity and respecting boundaries,
Yes.
particularly in romantic relationships.
For sure.
So, this is where understanding the nuances of each love language becomes so crucial.
Totally.
It's about being sensitive to the other person's comfort level
Yeah.
and respecting their boundaries.
So physical touch, when done appropriately and respectfully, can be a powerful way to express love.
Absolutely. And then, of course, we have receiving gifts.
Right.
The source points to Yahweh's ultimate gift to us, his son Yeshua.
Yes.
It highlights that the true value of a gift isn't about its monetary worth, but the love and intention behind it.
This is one I personally struggle with.
Really?
I always get caught up in finding the perfect gift.
Yeah, I knew you.
But what you're saying is it's not about extravagant presence,
No.
but those thoughtful gestures that show you truly know and care for the person.
Exactly. It's about putting that thought and effort
Yeah.
into choosing something meaningful. Right. Even if it's a handwritten note or a simple act of kindness that speaks to their heart.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've laid this foundation now.
Yeah.
And I wanted to kind of shift gears here
Okay.
and bring it back to you, the listener.
Right.
Think about your own relationships for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see any of these Yahweh examples playing out?
Yeah, that's a great point. We often have these preconceived notions about how love should be expressed.
Right.
But maybe it's time to challenge those assumptions and look for the different ways love is already present in our lives.
I love that.
Yeah.
We'll be right back after a short break.
You know what's really fascinating to me is that the source material,
Yeah.
it isn't just about identifying our own love language.
Right.
It challenges us to actually go a step further
Okay.
and recognize the love languages of those around us.
So instead of just focusing on how we like to receive love,
Mm-hmm.
we need to kind of become more attuned to how others express and experience it.
Exactly. It's like learning a new language.
Oh, I like that.
To connect with people from a different culture.
Yeah, it's like we're speaking different love dialects.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sold, but let's say I'm ready to put this into practice.
Okay.
Where do I even begin?
Well, I think a great starting point is observation.
Okay.
Pay attention to how the people you care about, how they express and receive love,
Mm-hmm.
what makes them light up,
Right.
what actions or words seem to resonate most with them.
So we're like detectives of love languages.
Yes, exactly. Looking for clues in their everyday actions and reactions.
I love that.
And don't be afraid to ask.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes the most straightforward approach is simply asking someone, hey, what makes you feel loved? Or,
Yeah.
how can I best show you that I care?
You know, it's funny because we often assume that others perceive love the same way we do.
Right.
Like, I know I'm totally guilty of that.
It's a common misconception.
Yeah.
We tend to project our own preferences onto others,
Uh-huh.
which can lead to misunderstandings and unmet needs.
So by understanding these different love languages, we can avoid those pitfalls. Yeah.
And build more fulfilling relationships.
Absolutely. It's like having a roadmap.
I like that, a roadmap.
Yeah. To navigate the complexities of human connection.
Okay, this is all making so much sense.
Good.
But I have to be honest, sometimes I struggle to feel loved,
Mm-hmm.
even when people are genuinely trying their best to show it.
Yeah. I understand that's a valid feeling.
Yeah.
And sometimes, even when people are speaking our love language,
Yeah.
we might have these internal barriers that prevent us from fully receiving it.
Internal barriers, what do you mean by that?
Well, could be past hurts,
Okay.
insecurities, or even cultural conditioning
Right.
that makes us resistant to certain expressions of love.
So it's not always about the other person.
No.
Sometimes it's about our own internal struggles
Exactly.
that prevent us from receiving love fully.
Right. And so,
So how do we deal with these internal barriers?
well, self-awareness is key.
Okay.
It's important to acknowledge those barriers and understand how they might be affecting our ability to receive love. So journaling therapy, honest conversations with trusted friends.
Yeah, all of that can help us unpack these deeper issues.
Okay. And once we've identified those barriers, what's the next step?
This is where the spiritual aspect comes in.
Okay.
The source material reminds us that love, it begins with Yahweh.
Right.
It quotes 1 John 4:19, which says, we love him because he first loved us.
So experiencing Yahweh's love is the foundation
Yes.
for being able to give and receive love fully.
It's like we need to first understand and experience that unconditional love to truly open ourselves up to others.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like Yahweh's love is the source of all love.
Mhm.
And when we tap into that source, we can then share that love more genuinely with others.
Exactly. It's a wellspring that overflows into our relationships.
Okay, and how do we tap into that source?
Well, remember, experiencing Yahweh's love, it's not a one-time event.
Right.
It's an ongoing journey
Okay.
of connecting with him through prayer scripture and spending time in his presence.
So cultivating that relationship and allowing his love to transform us.
Yes, from the inside out.
This whole conversation has been so enlightening.
Good. Glad.
I feel like I have a whole new perspective on love and relationships.
That's wonderful.
It's not just about techniques or strategies,
No.
but about a deeper understanding of ourselves and the source of love itself.
Exactly.
You know what's really striking me is this emphasis on Yahweh and Yeshua.
Oh, yeah. What about it?
It suggests a different way of understanding God's love.
Okay.
One rooted in covenant and action rather than just sentimentality.
That's a brilliant observation.
Yeah.
It highlights the personal and relational aspect of God,
Okay.
emphasizing his active engagement with humanity.
So it's not just about a distant, abstract love,
Right.
but a God who actively demonstrates his love through his actions, his words, and his pursuit of a relationship with us.
Exactly. And that changes everything. It shifts our focus from passively receiving love to actively participating in a love relationship with God and by extension with others.
Wow, that's powerful.
It is. So if Yahweh embodies all 5 love languages,
Yeah.
it's not about finding the one perfect language for ourselves or others.
Right.
It's about recognizing that love can be expressed and experienced in these diverse ways.
Mm-hmm.
It's about expanding our understanding of love and becoming more fluent in its various dialects.
I love that analogy. And you know what's really exciting is that the source material, it doesn't just tell us how to love.
Okay.
It explains why it matters.
Okay. I'm all ears. Tell me more about this. Why?
Well, it argues that when we align our relationships with Yahweh's teachings on love, we experience a deeper level of connection, joy, and fulfillment.
Okay.
It's like tapping into a divine blueprint for building lasting, meaningful relationships that go beyond the superficial.
So it's not just about making our relationships better,
Right.
but also about living a more fulfilling life overall.
Exactly. It's about aligning ourselves with a higher purpose.
Yeah.
A love that transcends our individual desires.
And it goes beyond individual happiness.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. When we learn to love like Yahweh,
Yeah.
we become vessels of his love in the world.
Okay.
We can radiate that love outwards, impacting our communities and even society as a whole.
It's like a ripple effect.
Yes.
Starting with our own hearts and extending outwards to touch the lives of others.
Exactly. And, you know, the source material makes a really interesting point
Oh, yeah.
about how this approach to love can even help bridge divides between people from different backgrounds or beliefs.
Okay, now that's something I really want to hear more about.
Okay.
How can understanding love languages help bridge those divides?
Well, it argues that when we focus on speaking each other's love languages,
Mm-hmm.
we move beyond superficial differences and connect on a deeper, more human level.
Okay.
We start to see past those things that separate us and recognize our shared humanity.
So it's like finding common ground through the language of love.
Yes.
It's about recognizing that at our core, we all long to be loved and understood,
Right.
regardless of our differences.
Absolutely. It's about tapping into that universal desire and using it as a bridge to build understanding and connection.
This has been such an incredible deep dive.
You're
I
right.
feel like we've barely scratched the surface of this topic, but it's definitely given me a lot to think about.
I think there's so much more to explore, but I hope this conversation has at least given you a starting point
Yeah.
for understanding love languages through a biblical lens
Yeah.
and applying these principles in your own life.
It absolutely has. And you know what? I think I'm going to leave our listeners with this one final thought-provoking question from the source material.
Okay.
It says, we love him because he first loved us.
Yes.
So I want you to consider this. What does it mean to truly experience and understand Yahweh's love first?
Mhm.
And how does that then impact how we love others?
That's a wonderful question to ponder. It's a reminder that love is not just a feeling or an action.
Right.
It's a transformative experience that begins with knowing and experiencing the love of Yahweh. It's about letting that love fill us up so that we can then pour it out into the world.
Beautifully said. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive. It's been a true pleasure exploring these concepts with you.
It's been my pleasure as well. And remember, the journey of love is ongoing.
Yes.
Keep seeking, keep learning, and keep loving.
Until next time, keep diving deep.